Thank you very much. Young and new beef farmers are struggling as they don't have enough equity to build up to borrow money to survive these difficult times. Price insurance is key, but the premiums are so expensive due to COVID that they can't participate. Has a price insurance program been implemented in Atlantic Canada?
Honourable Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we encourage the use of private programs as well as other risk management programs. Personally, I can't answer the question directly.
Has the minister worked with her provincial counterparts to secure a short-term cost-share agreement to reduce premiums where price insurance already exists?
Well, Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Alors, je peux rassurer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can assure my colleague that I work very regularly with all of my provincial colleagues. There's a meeting over the phone every week, as well as individual meetings.
Is cost sharing of premiums already available for crop insurance?
Well, Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Premier ministre.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've proposed to include the possibility of recognizing a labor shortage as an insurable risk, and it will be up to the provinces to adhere to it or not.
Price insurance, how many ranchers have had to address cash flow by selling cattle at the bottom of the markets?
The Honourable Minister.
There are many programs in place to help our beef producers, including $50 million through the Agri-Recovery Program, $77.5 million for food processors.
On May 1st, the Young Cattlemen's Council asked the minister to extend the deadline for attaining calf price insurance. Today is that deadline. Did the minister meet it?
Honourable Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Alors, on est en conversation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're holding conversations just about every day with various representatives of organizations. We're trying to work with them to improve the different programs and to meet their needs, as well as manage the risk management programs.
So she didn't respond to the request of the Young Cattlemen's Council. The minister is telling farmers to access the BRM program, but even just now I got a text from a young cattleman in my riding who's losing $250 to $300 per head, who just told me that those programs in no way increase their capacity to deal with this crisis. The Farm Credit Canada lending capacity was increased by $5 billion, but only to service and manage loans of current customers. How many farmers have applied for that assistance?
The Honourable Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is a vast array of programs that are available to our producers, whether they be specific to the farming sector or the emergency business account, whose criteria has been broadened in order to offer more loans and a 25% non-refundable portion that could go up to $670 million for the agricultural sector.
How many of Canada's farmers are customers of Farm Credit Canada?
Well, Minister.
Monsieur le Président, les Farm Credit Canada, financement agricole.
Mr. Chair, Farm Credit Canada is available throughout the country and ready to meet the needs of our farmers.
To Ms. Wagantall.
Thank you, Chair. Of the 25% of farmers who use FCC and have applied, how many have received assistance?
The Honourable Minister.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Et je vais...
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll go with the last information I received. I believe it was $4 billion in flexible loans since the beginning of the crisis.
45 seconds left, Ms. Wagantall. Go ahead.
Is the minister concerned that cow-calf numbers will sharply decrease if producers aren't able to protect the value of their herds, which they cannot do, jeopardizing the future of the Canadian beef supply chain?
The Honourable Minister.
Monsieur le Président, je peux vous assurer que...
I can assure you that I am quite concerned by what's happening in the agri-food sector. That's why we're working extremely hard in cooperation with them to improve programs in place, to set up new programs, including to support the meat sector.
Clear that the BRM programs don't work and there is not funding in place to assist them. 3 weeks ago, the processing backlog was more than 100,000 head. How many beef operations are facing the real danger of going out of business because of this pandemic and the lack of support by the Ag Minister and this Liberal government?
Honourable Minister.
Monsieur le Président, encore une fois, les programmes
Mr. Chair, once again, risk management programs are not perfect. We know that. That's why we're working with the provinces to find solutions. These are shared cost programs with the provinces, and we do want to improve them. That's why we've tried to introduce a certain amount of flexibility, and we're rounding out the funding, especially for the meat sector.